fellow sim racers, welcome to my channel. My name's Seth and I was going to give you all a guide on how to drive street stocks at USA International Speedway and IRacing. So here's some quick tips for racing this track. When you're racing and you're not sure if someone is next to you or not, assume that there is. A big mistake that people make is wanting to run the most efficient line, which is running the OIO, also known as outside, inside, outside method, which I'm sure you guys know of. If there's no one beside you, you definitely want to run this line, as that will give you the fastest lap time and conserve your tires the longest. You also definitely want to run this line when you're qualifying for the same reasons. However, you cannot always run this line while you're racing, as there is a lot of side-by-side running during the race. So it'll be a lot of double file running, not just single file. I see many people have someone on their outside, they are on the inside. The person on the inside doesn't know there's someone on their outside and runs wide, causing them both to spin out, likely wrecking a lot of the field behind them. So to avoid this, be listening to your spotter. If the spotter said someone's on your outside, hasn't yet said you're clear, but you don't see anyone, still keep on your inside line, slow down enough, and give up the position if you have to. Even if the spotter says you're clear, but you're not fully sure if that's true, still assume there's someone next to you, as the spotter has a slight delay sometimes and has been known to make mistakes. For me, he's told me I'm clear, so I go to the other line and I wreck the guy, because he still has an overlap with me. So that's where a human spotter would come in handy. So you just gotta take that into account. So before I jump into the street stock, I just want to give a couple tips on the car itself. So the street stock is a very loose car. On corner exit, you will feel the rear of the car get loose and the car will try to oversteer. Because of this, you will have to be very careful on braking and accelerating during corner entry and exit respectively. You also have to be ready to counter steer to keep the car straight, as the car will likely oversteer on corner exits several times, even in the simple rookie races. The best way to start, I'd say, is to do a test drive with the car on United States International Speedway, USA International Speedway, however you want to call it. And once you get a good feel of how the car drives, go into a practice server during USA International Speedway and practice running the car with other cars on track. So you can practice running side by side, drafting, although there's not a lot of draft with this car, so that's not a big thing to practice, but just running side by side with them and wrecking points because it really wrecks is good to practice on practice server. When you can handle that, jump into a race session. Also, once you get up to speed and into the 4th gear, you shouldn't really have to shift the car between gears during the race, unless you enter the pits. If you enter the pits, shift down slowly, very slowly, as it's very easy to overspin the tires on the street stock and lose control. So main things to remember about the car: it's very easy to oversteer when braking and accelerating, especially on corner entry and exit. So be very gradual when braking and accelerating. You want to keep the wheel turned as little as possible during the corner to save tires. You have to be ready to catch the car quick if the rear kicks out from under you, and you don't have to shift during the race. People often lose control of the car because they can't catch it quick enough. You will develop an instinct as to how to catch the car eventually. The best thing to do is to practice, practice, and practice. It will come in time. People also turn too much during the corner, causing their tires to wear down too quick, and then they lose control because of the lack of grip. Lastly, and the most common mistake I'd say, is that they treat the brake and the accelerator as either on or off, which causes so many problems. You have to be very gradual with braking on corner entry and very gradual with the accelerator on corner exit. I've said this several times already, I know. However, it is such a common mistake, the easiest to make and the easiest to fix, which is a good thing. You can fix this relatively easily, so I cannot emphasize it enough. Brake gradually, accelerate gradually, and you should be good. Turn as little as possible, be ready to counter steer. Alright, so now you know some of the most common mistakes people make with the street stocks. Though this guide is specific to USA International Speedway, many of these mistakes are persistent across many rookie ovals. Most of these tips also apply to many of the rookie ovals in street stocks, so mainly street stock ovals. There's other smaller ovals, for instance, that legend cars race on. These tips won't help as much. The legend cars drive much differently, so it's more about the car than the track. So keep these tips in mind for the street stock more than for short tracks. Because legend cars drive on USA International Speedway way different than street stocks do. For example, Southern National Speedway drives very similar. So you can drive the street stocks on Southern National. It's almost the same, except Southern National is, I think, a little bit easier because it's a bit shorter and it's bigger banking, so you don't slip as easy. Just keep that in mind if you're driving another oval. You can apply many of these tips as well. So Southern National, Langley, Lanier Speedway, Oxford Plains Speedway, similar. They're all kind of similar. They're different at the same time, but they're similar. Of course, let me know which tracks you want me to make guides on in the comments. I will be making several, so subscribe to see more. Now that you know the most common mistakes, and you now have some tips to help you out, let's jump into a Hotlap so you can see how I drive the track. Hopefully this will give you some info into how you should be driving the track. So now that you've seen how I drive, here's gonna be a quick commentation of how I'm driving so you can see exactly what I'm doing, and just to give you some quick tips here. Here we go. So you see I'm starting out in the pits basically, and you know, that's where you always start. And the trick is spin your tires when you leave, especially if you're qualifying, so that will get your tires warmed up and it'll give you a good speed boost, especially when qualifying. So as you come around the corner, you want to get on the gas or the accelerator as soon as possible, but still be gradual. So you see how gradual I am. If you look in the bottom left corner, you'll see my pedals, and you can see how gradual I am with them. So see gradual braking, only about 50% max, then gradual acceleration. And you see how little I turn the wheel. You don't want to turn the wheel too much. So you can, and you see I'm not shifting any gears at all. I'm staying in fourth gear the whole time. Gradual increase. I just top out, but then you gradually brake, turn in, stay on the inside, apex, you slide up the track, full speed by the time you straight. Start braking here, gradual, only about 30% really, turn, I ran it a little bit wide here, you see, so that's a little bit of a mistake, then you get up there. Sometimes running right in the middle actually gets you good speed though if you're skilled enough with it. See, I'm only turning my wheel maximum. I'm not even trying to hit 90 degrees. You definitely don't want to turn the wheel 90 degrees. So that's my street stock guide for USA International Speedway. Hopefully you found this helpful, and you can now apply all these tips towards street stock racing at USA International Speedway. I believe from the current schedule that the next time it will be ran on the Rookie Street Stock Series is on week 2 of next season. If you like this video, please smash that thumbs up button. If you enjoy my content and want to see more, please subscribe. Also, let me know of any other videos you would like me to make in the comments below. Hope this has been helpful to you fellow sim racers, and hope to see you all racing soon. Seth.